So Friday morning, minding my own business. Friday's a bit of an off day for me because of our recording schedule with this podcast. And I look up and they say that Scottie Scheffler, who is the number one golfer in the world, has been arrested on his way to the PGA Championship. Right? Now, number one, I have to admit, I was a little surprised that those guys drive themselves around.
I know.
I'm not the only person that was surprised by that.
Yeah.
I don't drive, like when I'm on this sort of business, I don't drive myself around.
It's a work trip.
Yeah, like I would think for a number of reasons, including the reason that we wound up with, this is why you don't I would think that guy would not drive himself. But anyway, tragically, there was an accident with a pedestrian that morning. Pedestrian died, rest in peace. And so that rerouted traffic or whatever. And I don't know what happened exactly. People calling it a miscommunication, whatever. But there was a roadblock. And Scottie Scheffler was like, yeah, but I got to get to work. And so he drove around the roadblock. And then after driving around the roadblock, 5-0 came and got him. Tried to pull him out the window, and they stopped that when he opened the car door and then pulled him out of the car door, and then they jacked him up, and then they hooked him up, right? Cuffed him, put him in the car. But what Johnny Law was not expecting was that reporters were there. Jeff Darlington of ESPN was there. I think there was another ESPN reporter, and he was out there doing his line of duty thing. You know what I'm saying? He got out there with his camera, taking video, asking questions. And then it was tough, man. It was a black cop that was like, he going to jail. And I was like, oh boy, I can tell you right now, this is going to turn into a phenomenon on the internet. This is going to get weird. All kinds of wires about to get crossed and scrambled now. This white man that got jacked up by the law, and the black man is saying he's going to jail, and with a tinge of he should have complied. He didn't say it immediately, but a tinge of he shouldn't comply. Now everybody's heads are messed up on what they supposed to do. White folks ain't really trying to back the blue, all right? And black people, not every black person, but I'm going to be honest, my people. It sounded kind of like a lot of y'all was wishing that man had got shot or beat. That's the vibe. That's the vibe I'm getting. Because let's be real about this. They jacked that man up for no good reason. There was absolutely no reason for them to be as aggressive with him as they were. Apparently the car had the PGA logos on it, all of this stuff, right? They ain't need to do that man like that. Try to pull him through the window. They ain't need to do that man like that. They locked him up. They actually took him to jail. They actually dressed him up like a tangerine. They actually did the mugshot with him, all this stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. He got in and out and got to work on time. That's not an average situation. Clearly, somebody put in a call and was like, can you get this dude out of jail, please? Right? Like this clearly some things got greased after they realized what had happened. But I had people hitting me up being like, well, what would they have done if it was Scottie Shabazz? They tried to put him through the car window for this. That's pretty Shabazzy treatment as far as I'm concerned. We don't get shot for everything, right? It's a good chance. Don't get me wrong. But come on now. They did that man wrong. And I got people basically talking about they should have done him wronger.
I don't know if you watched his post-game presser after his round, but he said when he got to the station, he eventually had to say his name, and the people booking him realized who it was, and they asked him, hey, Scottie, do you want the full treatment? Do you want to go through the whole thing? And he was like, I guess I have to, which is why he was in that getup.
Wow.
They gave him the sandwich that they give you. He had it all, and it was like, he even expressed, he was like, that was a little weird that they asked me that.
Hold on, he treated it like it was fantasy camp.
Yeah, it was like
almost like a whole ride.
Make a wish. Like,
okay, give him the VIP tour. It's like he got that tour like when you go to the Louvre and you don't want to wait in line, right? Like that was okay. I had no idea that he just wanted to know what the full thing on. One of my favorite things was ESPN had Marty Smith come on, and Marty was like, what a surreal experience. Marty. I looked up the exact town. Marty from a town right in Virginia, right over the West Virginia line. And when Marty talked about the dude being in the orange jumpsuit, Marty was talking about that with a much more knowing tone. Not that Marty himself had been in that jumpsuit, but Marty done had to get somebody out of jail before. Like that was kind of that Marty's the one to be like, wow, they got him out fast. Like Marty done seen some things, been around some people, whatever it is. So they got him in there. They got him out. He came back. He came to the first tee, man. They was clapping like that dude just got back from Fallujah. Like they was clapping for him like what if John McCain had played golf in 1974 or whatever year that was? That was the way that they were clapping for him when he got out there. And I was just blown away. I got white people just talking about how the police, how wrong they were and what they was doing. I got white people in my mentions talking about how sure they are that I'm mad that the dude wound up getting out of jail. I'm like, it is clear that they did this man wrong. I ain't rooting for none of this. Now, our two Americas did collide. We did have that happen. I mentioned this on Twitter, but I'm going to say it again. And people were asking me, were white people going to be confused about whether to root for the police or root for the golfer? And I'm like, well, maybe there's levels to this, right? Because there's a lot of golfers that are like the insufferable class or whatever, but I don't think that the white people who watch golf really think about those people as being those people because you don't ever see their personality. So that side of them you don't really get, right? But my daddy is from Oakdale, Louisiana. He went to Southern University for a little bit. That's what he does. He roots for Southern. And he always talks about the thing about the Bayou Classic is he doesn't hate Grambling. He said he only roots for Grambling. He only roots against Grambling when they play in Southern. He's like, when Grambling plays somebody else, he roots for them every time, right? And that's how it is with white people and the police. When the police is playing against the Jackson States of the world, you know what I'm saying? When the police is playing against us, or the police is playing against La Universidad de Tijuana, right? They rooting for the police in that case. Sean, even against y'all, they rooting for the police in those cases. But when the police get into it with white people, oh, no. They rooting for the home team. They know what time it is. Like, think about this. You know what the police do? They tell people what to do. Do you read the news? What about white people is about being told what to do? Every time it's a goddamn problem, it's because somebody tried to tell a white man what to do. They might blow this whole thing up once this thing come down. Them white folks up there where they mad at black people, even though ain't no black people for hundreds of miles away, like the Bundys, them cats up there in Idaho and Montana and all that. They hate the police. They can't stand them. If they don't need the police to be out here doing nothing to us, then all the police is an impediment to their good time. They don't love the police. Well, none of them about to be rooting for the police. As I be listening to a little bit more of that country music, you realize that too. Then any song in country music that mentioned the police, it ain't thanking Officer Friendly. It's about Officer Friendly being up in your craw or whatever country ass term that they would use to describe what them circumstances were. So yeah, as I saw that was going down, I just watched. The internet has so clearly become a place where people just go to be mad that we couldn't even laugh. Like ESPN don't know what to do in a circumstance like that. They was using all they solemn tones and, everything that has happened this morning. And, for him to make it to the tee. That's all they got under those circumstances. I told you about it that one time when Riley Cooper got caught at the Kenny Chesney concert saying he was going to fight all the N-words there. And ESPN called me to be on the air and talk about it. And they got the wrong one because all I had was jokes. Right? Because the only playbook they got under them circumstances is to take it seriously. because TV don't know how to have fun when funny stuff like that happens. And I'm sorry, that man getting jacked up by the law on his way into work was hilarious. Everything in the way that it played out was dark comedy, ironic goodness. And I will add a little more dark comedy and a little more ironic goodness to this by hitting you guys with a point that, so like, and I was thinking about this. There's been a lot of discussion lately about how athletes from different sports would perform if they were engaged in different activities, right? It's caused a lot of beef, really a lot of salty football players, if we're going to be honest about this, right? They mad enough that basketball players make more money than them. Then somebody had the nerve to say that they could play football, right? But it was a lot of, basketball player wouldn't be able to do this in our sport. And like people try to throw out LeBron would get crushed, all of this stuff, right? And I mean, it's a preposterous thing to try to make a comparison between an athlete from one sport and an athlete in another. And just like, it's hard to do, right? It's preposterous. But all I'm going to say is this. Our man, Scottie went to jail. He got out. And for the weekend, I want to say he shot a 13 under that had him tied for 8th, 8 strokes behind the winner. And all I'm going to say is go to court, come out and compete. Kobe would have won that tournament. That's all I'm saying. He needs some Mamba. Scottie need to go get him some Mamba mentality. Kobe wouldn't have even needed to, but he'd have caught a helicopter from that jail. He'd have landed. He'd have been wearing them aviator shades with the mirror front face. He'd have come out there. He'd have been so locked in. We wouldn't be talking about, Xander. None of that. No, sir. Kobe would have won the whole damn thing. You can turn $10 into $1,000 with playoff basketball and hockey entries today on PrizePicks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. PrizePicks is really simple to play, and you can make your picks and submit your entry in less than 60 seconds. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make PrizePicks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. So make sure you go to prizepicks.com/Bomani and use code Bomani for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/Bomani. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy.